All right. Hi, everybody. If you can hear me, okay. Hi, everybody. If you can hear me, can you just type in a hi so that I know that you are here? Okay, great. I see about 38 of you watching in live on Facebook. So hi, everybody. Hello to everybody who is watching on our Facebook, Ultimate Investing. I know some of you are watching on my personal page and some of you are watching from YouTube as well. Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's Market Watch. So today is episode 14, okay? And of course, for today, we are going to share very interesting company. So just a bonus to share with you guys, okay, just to make sure that you guys actually stay on till the end. So today, we are not only going to share one company, okay? In fact, I'm going to share 3 companies. All right. So later on I will actually explain a little bit on the story on why today instead of one company there is actually 3 company. You know what, definitely it's going to be really exciting, and I'm sure you will get some interesting insights okay, for today's session as well. So we will be starting in about 2 more minutes, okay, 2 more minutes. So let's just wait for more people to join in, and then we can actually get started. So of course, for those of you who are in, okay, help us to actually reach out to more people by helping to give us a like and a thumbs up so that, you know, more people can actually get to see this video, this Facebook Live that is going on out there. Yes, I see quite a number of you guys who already said hi. Quenston, Esmond, Han Hock, Karen, Kelvin, Pei Jimmy, Jeffrey, and Kin Ming as well. Hi, everybody. So for those of you who just came in, my name is Bowen, and today I'll be actually sharing with you some interesting stocks, okay, companies as well. So if you are here, just type in a hi so that I know that you can actually hear me loud and clear. Hello, Sally. Wow, long time no see. Very long never see you. Okay, yes. Let's see if we have any special guest today as well. All right, we were starting in about 1 more minute. Okay, so 1 more minute. Let's get started. So very soon we can actually start. Okay, so 1 more minute, 1 more minute. And for those of you who are not yet inside our Telegram channel, you can actually join us, okay, at t.me/ultimateinvestorsg. So this is also the place where we will share with you some daily news update. And of course, if you have any exciting launches or any exciting videos or webinars like this, we will also update inside the Telegram channel as well. And of course, last but not least, before I start, okay, if you have been following us, okay, do help us by helping to give us a like, a thumbs up, or even a heart shape, and also help us to share this video out so that more people can actually benefit from this sharing. And I will be starting my sharing in 10 more seconds, okay, 10 more seconds. Yes, hi, Spice, Andy, and Ashley as well. Okay, great. I think we are all ready to get started. Okay, so whether y'all want to see my face bigger or see my slide bigger, okay, I think y'all can see the slide bigger. Okay, yes. Okay, great. So today, this particular company, let me just share a little bit about the background and why I actually decided to do AT&T. Okay, reason actually very simple. This is a company that I've been eyeing for quite some time. Okay, first of all, this is a dividend company. Okay, so this is a little bit like for those of you who are Singaporeans out here, right? In Singapore, we also love to buy into our telco company. So can you all just type in what are the 3 main telco in Singapore? All right. So usually telco company in a country, we also usually they're quite stable okay, because of the recurring income, and so many of them actually term it as a blue chip company. So in the US, okay, so AT&T is also one of the largest, okay, wireless carrier, okay, which is a telco So they're also one of the largest, and that is why I think they are also very popular okay, by the US investor. Okay, so one of the very solid dividend company. But what happened is that I realized that the share price has actually been dropping, and actually it is hovering at a very strong support area So that is why I thought, hey, yeah, maybe I can just take a look at this company again and see if there are any opportunity. And that's how I decided to do this very quick series. All right, so for today will be a very simplified version of a buy or buy. For those of you who have watched our buy or buy series before, you know that buy or buy, there's a certain structure to it. Okay, I call it the big profit formula, So for today, I'm not going to use the big profit formula, but really it's all about some free play Right. So while I was having this free play, okay, later I will actually share a little bit more. But basically this will be the whole rundown for today. I'll talk about the company, and then I will share with you the market outlook, and of course the Q&A for the last portion. Right. So once again, disclaimer. Okay, so make sure you do your own due diligence before I move on. Okay, let me just go. So what happened is that, okay, so I was actually spending the whole morning just to read up about AT&T first. Okay, so for me, before I write any presentation or I prepare any presentation, I like to actually get as much information as possible first. Okay, I like to have a more in-depth understanding before I actually see how I can compartmentalize and crystallize it into simple and easy to understand format. So what happened is that, right, today I was reading and at first I thought, wow, this company is quite interesting. Yeah, I think they're in the right space, and I think this is the right company for me to cover today. But as I was reading further and further, right, then I realized that, hey, actually I was also reading on some of the competitors in the market. So later I will actually release who are the competitors, and then I was then checking some numbers coming from the competitors as well, and also looking at how the competitors are performing in the current market situation, and of course moving forward, what will be the potential growth And that was where I realized that, hey, well, actually I think some of the competitors might be a better choice, okay, as in terms of an investment. Right. So that is where I decided that, instead of making AT&T buy or buy, I decided to actually share in terms of the big players, okay, based on this demographic, so that we can have an overall view on which are the companies, in a way, the three big companies in the telco in US. And of course, I'm going to share with you some key comparison and how I feel this company is going to perform moving forward as well. So a little bit of a forward guidance as well. So if you are ready to actually get started and learn from today's sharing, which is about the telco industry, can you just type in 5G? Can you type in 5G? Yeah, Jackson is very, very excited. I can tell it's buy or buy first. Let me see if I can tell you. Maybe it's a buy. Maybe it's also a buy. Okay, I'm not going to tell you right now. You all got to listen in first. Yes, Rachel already got some information. They spun off, WarnerMedia. Later, I'm going to share. Yes, that's great. That's great. I see many of the company, and some of you mentioned Singtel, M1, and StarHub exactly. So I'm going to share with you the US edition. Okay, US edition. So for today, the whole industry that I'm going to talk about is telecommunication. So again, right, this is a very, very boring topic, right? Just like today, if I'm going to talk to you about Singtel, talk to you about StarHub, nothing exciting. But so I have to squeeze out something that can be relatively interesting out of this very, very boring industry. So of course, I'm going to link it to the most exciting two letters, okay, in the market right now, and that is 5G. So how do I actually link 5G to the telecommunication? Actually, you realize that they are pretty interlinked. Okay, in fact, 5G, how the whole 5G network begins is actually through the telecommunication as well. So previously, okay, these are some of the companies that we have actually covered when we were talking about 5G. Let me just start off with the first one. So left-hand side, we have Apple. Okay, so Apple, of course, is the end product. So in order for you to really get to use 5G, so of course, one of the most common usage is, of course, on our phone. But of course, along the way, we also realized that, 5G, the users of 5G doesn't just apply to our handphone. It can also be applied to many of the things around us. Okay, of course, we have the IoT, and moving forward in the future, we have driverless car and all that. So that will also be pretty much sitting on the 5G network. But something that we are more familiar of as an end product user is, of course, the Apple phone. And of course, okay, not just Apple. Okay, I'm a bit biased. You have your Samsung 5G phone, your Huawei 5G phone, any phone that has 5G. So we get to benefit the increase in speed. The download speed, everything is faster. Maybe you talk to your friend, your friend talk faster also. No, I don't know. Okay, but there's no lag. When you're playing game, like Counter-Strike, there's zero latency, very, very fast. So to support the phone, right, okay, to be connected to 5G, that's where we have to talk about the equipment that is inside the handphone itself, okay? And previously, we also talked about this company called Skyworks. So Skyworks basically produce the chip that enables your phone to be able to connect to the 5G. Okay, so it acts as a receiver as well as the antenna for your handphone for the 5G technology. Right, so we have also talked about this company before. Right, and of course, last but not least, right, we have also talked about equipment. So in order for, you know, all this network to actually begin, okay, first we have to, of course, set up the infrastructure lah. So you have your big tower, your telecommunication tower, and of course with all the antennas and things like that. So on top of all these towers, okay, what happened is that for 5G, what they are using is also different. So there are actually quite a couple of companies that actually come out with the antennas and the satellite for 5G communication. So of course, Nokia is one of them that we have shared previously. Another very popular is actually Samsung. Okay, so Samsung is actually one of the, in fact, they are actually the second or the third largest in terms of this infrastructure for 5G. So the largest is of course Huawei, okay, and the second is Ericsson, and then the third one, I believe, is Samsung, followed by Nokia. So again, these are some of the companies that you can actually place a bit of emphasis and to find out more, especially if you're interested into 5G. So for today, the company that we're going to talk about, how is it again related to 5G? Actually, it is very, very related, okay? Because, okay, remember, what we are talking about is the equipment on the infrastructure. But who is the one that is spending the money to set up the infrastructure? Okay, is actually the telco company, which is actually these big four players lah. And of course, as a telco company, you also want more of the end user to have the phone, right? That's why you see like all your Singtel and the M1, they become like a handphone seller lah. They are just promoting, oh, this is the latest Apple phone. Okay, so when you upgrade your plan, you get your Apple phone for a very, very low price. So they are also one of the biggest distributor of the end product, which is our phone lah. All right, so you can see that, you know, the whole ecosystem actually revolves around these four players, which is the big telco players. So just to share with you the name, right? So of course, on the left-hand side, we have T-Mobile. The right-hand side, blue in color, is actually AT&T, and of course, Sprint, as well as Verizon. But just to share with you a little bit of a context is that T-Mobile has actually bought over, or rather merged with Sprint. So now we no longer have Sprint. So Sprint is actually part of T-Mobile. So in short, okay, in the market right now, the three biggest player is AT&T, T-Mobile, as well as Verizon. Okay, so a bit similar to Singapore context. Right, so as what I've mentioned earlier on, the telco companies are the one that set up the 5G infrastructure, as well as they are also the key distributor of 5G phones to the market. So if you're wondering why Singapore, the 5G is so slow, right? Okay, then you know who to look for lah. Okay, basically the companies that is supposed to set this up, they are not setting it up lah. Yeah, and in fact, Singapore is actually one of the, it's quite slow lah when it comes to 5G, right? But I think in certain places, especially if you have a 5G phone, actually you can really start connecting to the 5G infrastructure in certain parts of Singapore. The problem is connecting to 5G, right, doesn't mean that the speed that you get is 5G. Again, there are many different speed limit lah, okay, when it comes to 5G. All right, later I'm also going to explain a little bit more. Wow, suddenly a lot of comments. Okay, later I'll share a little bit more. So first, let's take a look at the key difference about these three companies, okay, just to have a bit of understanding about this whole of these three companies. Let's start off with Verizon. Okay, Verizon, the one on the left-hand side. So you can actually see that, right, for Verizon, they are a very focused company. Okay, the keyword over here is focus lah. So the whole business actually revolves just around wireless and wired. So basically, it's all within the communication business lah. Okay, so they are not focused into other areas. Of course, there are small components that they are also invested in. But pretty much, as you can see, 76% of the revenue actually comes from the wireless business, okay, which is the phone. And of course, they still have fixed line, just like your home line, okay. In the US, they also still serve the fixed line. But again, I would say that the revenue coming from that and the profit coming from that is declining lah. So moving forward, this red color is going to just continue to become smaller and smaller. And the orange color in the future is going to be almost like 100%. So almost 100% of the future revenue, I would say, should comes from wireless. Okay. And we can look at AT&T, a little bit different. If you look at AT&T, 76% of the business come from communication. And within the communication, it already comprises of the wireless as well as the wired. Okay, so previously so think of it, Verizon, right? 100% of the company is communication. But for AT&T, only 76.7% is on communication. There is about 17%, okay, which is the red color zone. Okay, 17% actually belongs to this department called WarnerMedia. WarnerMedia. So within WarnerMedia, okay, one of the more popular is of course Warner Bros. Okay, some of the movies that you are watching, I cannot actually remember Warner Bros. What movie they have. Okay, let me just do a quick search. So some of the more popular Warner Bros. Movie is, can you just type it in? Okay, Space Jam. They have what else? Oh, come on. Godzilla versus Kong, as well as one more. I think it's quite popular one, which is Wonder Woman. Okay, Wonder Woman. Okay, yeah, but in short, these are some of the names that I can actually see. Okay, so Warner Bros. Basically comprises of movies. But under this WarnerMedia, right, they also have HBO. Okay, I'm sure you are familiar of HBO. So some of us in Singapore, if you subscribe to Me TV, Me Watch, okay, they also have this thing called HBO. All right. So what happened is that there is actually a media company that basically they come out with their own movie. Okay, they come out with their own series, TV series as well. So you can see that within the AT&T, there is actually this media arm. Okay, that is a little bit like Netflix, a much smaller Netflix. Okay, and there's also an arm that focuses on movie as well. And that comprises about 17% of the overall business. Okay, so just remember this term, WarnerMedia, that is the 17%. For T-Mobile, okay, pretty interesting. Actually, T-Mobile is pretty similar to Verizon, okay, in the sense that almost 100% of the business is on communication. So they are very, very focused. Okay, they are not like AT&T, trying to touch a bit on the media. In fact, Verizon has a small business compartment in the media as well. So they tried going into the media. In fact, Verizon bought over Yahoo a couple of years ago. But again, that wasn't a good move, right? So right now you can see that pretty much they are not focusing on that anymore. So just to give you an overall idea, you can see that for Verizon and T-Mobile, they are very focused on the communication business. AT&T, there's a small component, which is the media business, as mentioned. Now, let's look at 5G. Okay, so when we look at 5G, right, one thing we have to understand that in 5G, there are many different, I would say, the spectrum. Okay, what do I mean by this spectrum? So as you can see over here, right, okay, I just classify them into three different spectrum. One is the low band spectrum, mid band spectrum, and the high band spectrum. So just think of this as the frequency. This is actually a frequency. So if a company has got a very low frequency, what happened is that, right, low frequency basically means that the wave can actually travel further. Okay, the wave can actually travel further, which means that today, if let's say I set up a tower, okay, that has this low band frequency, okay, maybe I can reach out to, the next 50 kilometer. Okay, so one tower I can reach to 50 kilometer, and then maybe 50 kilometer away, I just need to set up another low band frequency, and then I can reach another 50 kilometer. So the outreach is actually very, very big. But what happened with low band frequency is that the speed tends to be slower. Okay, so the speed tends to be slower. So even though it might be it might name as 5G, but actually the speed might be like 4G or sometimes even 3G, okay, in terms of the speed. So that is why, okay, in many of the countries like Korea as well as in China, one of the most popular spectrum that they actually use is actually the mid band. Okay, so the mid band is actually like a balance. So in terms of the outreach, it might not be that far, okay, but what happens is that it can actually enable you to go at relatively faster speed. Okay, which is the 5G speed that we are actually talking about. Okay, so in many countries like, China and Korea, they are actually focusing a lot on mid-band. So right now, as you can see, based on the market itself, T-Mobile has the widest outreach of mid-band. Okay, and that is also why when you actually ask, people in the US in terms of the 5G, which company has pretty much the best connection and the speed in terms of 5G, so most of the time, people will actually prefer T-Mobile. Okay, because of the number of the outreach that they actually have like, currently, the capacity they have in terms of this area, and as well as the infrastructure. So for Verizon, okay, you can see that they actually focus a lot on the high band. Okay, so high band is basically in places like a very, very high density area. So for example, okay, if you have a stadium and then you want everybody to be able within the stadium to have very, very high speed internet, okay, that is where you need to have this very high band, which we call it the millimeter wave, like MM wave. Okay, so for Verizon, they actually set up a lot of all this high band frequency within the urban area. Okay, so within the town area. So which means that if you're staying in a big state, okay, what happens is that maybe if you subscribe to Verizon, you can get super, super high speed connection. Okay. So one thing you have to understand this, for low band, the cost of infrastructure is relatively low because every long distance, you just need to set up one. Mid band, slightly more. Okay, high band, the cost of infrastructure is definitely the highest because even within a city, you need to have a lot of high band frequency around, okay, the setup station. So if you are learning something so far, can you just type in 111? Okay, we'll just go through a bit slowly. So today might be a little bit technical. So I'm going to start off with this company called Verizon. Okay, Verizon. So as you can see, Verizon, right? Okay, first of all, in terms of the numbers, in terms of the subscriber, they have the largest subscribers. All right, so which is actually great. And they are actually one of the first mover in high band spectrum, not high spectrum, high band spectrum. So the good thing about, being ahead in the high band spectrum is that moving forward, okay, because when you are talking about Internet of Things, okay, when you are talking about driverless cars, okay, that is where you really require very, very high connectivity. Okay, and pretty much if you're talking about a city area, you will definitely require a high band spectrum. Okay, so if you're talking about within a city and having everything to be highly connected, okay, you will definitely need high band. But in terms of normal usage, like for us, we are on the phone, traveling around. So what happens is that the mid band actually has got the widest coverage. So for Verizon, okay, in terms of the high spectrum, they have the highest, but current usage is not high. Okay, so because of their low outreach in the outskirt area, okay, because of the low and the mid, they are not that strong in that. So in terms of the overall connection, it is not fantastic. Okay, it is not fantastic. But one thing to take note is that, okay, Verizon actually this year, they actually bought, okay, into this mid-band spectrum. So what happened is that, okay, whenever the government or rather the FCC, they actually launch a new spectrum. So think of it as, so in order for them to own, right, they have to actually bid and buy. Okay, so there's actually this mid-band spectrum that is actually offered by the FCC. So what happened is that Verizon actually spent about $50 billion, okay, just to buy into this mid-band spectrum, which later I will also talk about that as well. All right, so it has already happened. It has already happened. And I just want to share with you is that, right, okay, after this mid-band spectrum, after they bought into this mid-band spectrum, you can see they spent about $53 billion to own it, right? You can look at the overall coverage, okay, for AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, okay? Because of this red color, the new one, which is the red band, the mid band. So this actually increased the Verizon coverage, okay? Which means that now, in terms of the coverage, they are actually able to cover quite a wide area, okay? Plus, of course, they are still the leader in the high spectrum, okay? So in terms of competitiveness, okay, with the other market players, okay, with this new investment, okay, or new spending, this actually puts Verizon in a pretty good position, okay, to actually compete well. And as you can see, T-Mobile, because previously they have already a very wide spectrum in terms of the mid-band, so in terms of the most recent auction, they didn't actually bought much. AT&T, they also bought a little bit, so still, based on the post auction, okay, actually Verizon will be leading by AT&T, and of course T-Mobile still dominate. So these are just some interesting information. But what happened is that earlier on I mentioned, right, just by buying into this spectrum is not enough because you also have to set it up. So the setup cost is also pretty high. So for Verizon, they actually say that they allocated $10 billion, okay, to actually do the setup cost. And just a few days ago, during their earnings, okay, the CEO actually mentioned that they are going to increase this 10 billion to about 13 billion. Okay, so the setup cost actually increased lah. And you can see over here, Ericsson, okay, lands the largest contract ever with 8.3 billion 5G deal with Verizon. These are just very, very recent news, just a couple of days ago. So previously, Verizon is already working with Samsung, okay, but the newest one is actually to work with Sony Ericsson. So what happened is that with this new accumulation, right, new spending, they are actually able to reach out to quite a huge amount of people. As you can see, they want to reach out to 175 million people to be covered by its mid-band 5G spectrum by 2023. Okay, so I would say that for Verizon, they're actually spending quite a lot of money to dominate or to actually, I would say, do well in the 5G area. Okay, so that is actually something good that's coming from Verizon. But again, the downside is actually the cost, okay, because they actually spend really a lot of money. So next, we look at AT&T. Okay, so some good things coming from AT&T. First, they had the highest subscriber growth in a decade. So again, I think last quarter, they actually did pretty well in terms of the number, new user growth. Okay, but what happened is that the business, right, they are actually having a major restructuring. So a lot of their previous business unit, they're actually not doing well. Okay, in fact, out of all this business, AT&T has the largest market cap. Okay, they have the largest market cap. And again, because the business is a bit here and there. So right now, the company actually say that they want to focus on 3 areas. Okay, the first one is 5G. The second one is wireless. The third one is actually on the fiber optics. Okay, fiber optics. So these are the 3 main areas that the company just want to focus on. So some of the bleeding business segment, okay, they're actually cutting off and doing a lot of restructuring. So that's actually a good thing, okay, at least for the business. And of course, the new HBO Max, okay, which is under the WarnerMedia, is actually doing extremely well. Okay, the revenue growth is actually above 30%. In fact, I think it actually outperform, okay, what they originally expected. So in terms of the media business, it's actually doing pretty okay. About some of the downside about AT&T, right, is again because they are in a way here and there. Okay, so they have a part of the business in the media. Okay, but the good thing is actually doing well. But what happened is that, right, they have this portion which is called direct TV. Okay, so which is actually a traditional TV media. So that part is actually not doing well. So what happened is that now they are actually trying to spin off this portion, okay, to this company called TPG. I'm sure you have heard of it. Okay, so they are trying to spin off this losing business, okay, to another unit. Okay, and then they are trying to raise cash for that portion. And not only that, they are also planning to spin off WarnerMedia to this company called Discovery. So that is why actually one of the reasons when I first read about this company, right, AT&T, I thought that, wow, with all the restructuring going on, it seems like this company is doing something good. Okay, at least they are trying to focus on the communication portion. But I realized that there are just too many major things that is going on. Okay, too many major things that is actually going on for the business itself. Okay, which actually I find that might be a good thing and can also be a bad thing. All right. So that is actually one of the key concerns with AT&T. So as you can see over here, you can see that these are just all very, very recent news. AT&T CEO says that WarnerMedia Discovery, which is the so-called spin-off, okay, the deal is on track. So what happened if, let's say, suddenly the deal is off? So nothing is firm. So what happens if suddenly, this is off? So, there's a lot of uncertainty. And not only that, okay, actually very recently, AT&T signed an agreement with Dish. Okay, so Dish, what happens that Dish, right, they are actually the 4th largest. Okay, just now we talk about these 3 largest. Then the 4th one is actually this company called Dish. So Dish actually focus a lot on, how do I say that? They actually have this, okay, satellite dish. Okay, how the name Dish actually came up is because of satellite dish. So they actually started out with the infrastructure. Okay, but what happened is that they don't actually have the network, okay, the spectrum network that the 3 largest company has. So what happened is that, right, with this so-called agreement with AT&T, they kind of can tap on AT&T network. Okay, so it's a little bit like TPG in Singapore. Remember when they first started, they have to tap on, I'm not sure, is it M1 or they actually tap on Singtel? okay, to actually use the network. So they can come up with their own name, okay, but actually the network is tapped on another player. So it's basically what is happening over here. So Dish, they might not have the full infrastructure, so they are actually working with AT&T to actually use their infrastructure. So again, right, okay, I'm not sure why AT&T wanted to go into this particular deal. Is it because they require cash? Okay, I think one of the key reasons is probably they need cash. But it's a little bit like, you know, letting your competitor or the fourth competitor to actually come and have an edge, okay, to gain more market share. So to me, this is also a good news and also a bad news. And last but not least, okay, the DirecTV selling, again, they are trying to raise debt, but again, whether got people buy or not is another question. So again, you know, even though there seems to be a lot of good news, but I think there's also a lot of uncertainty. So there's both good and bad. That is why I think for AT&T, in terms of the business itself, you know, there's just too many things that we have to take note. Okay, and that is why I decided to actually, you know, share a little bit about the other two companies instead. And last but not least, okay, T-Mobile, actually, for now, you can see that, hey, actually, this company not bad. So you can see they have the highest growing subscriber. They have the strongest spectrum coverage. Okay, so in terms of their current position, I think they are actually sitting at a pretty good position. Okay, in terms of the network, in terms of the subscriber, they are growing well as well. So in terms of the leader right now in terms of wireless is Verizon. Verizon has got the biggest subscriber, followed by T-Mobile, and then followed by AT&T. So they're actually in second place, right? So I mean, everything looks good for T-Mobile, okay, but later on when I go to the financial, I want to bring the attention to the valuation for T-Mobile, and that is also something that we want to take note on. So let's take a look at the numbers, okay, because I think the numbers will tell us a little bit different about the picture that is going on, so we can get some better idea. Let's start off with the most normal one, okay, which is AT&T. Okay, let's start off with AT&T. So first of all, we can see that for AT&T in terms of the revenue, okay, previously it was doing well, and then because of COVID, what happened? It starts to come down. Okay, so even though business starts to recover, but I think they are still performing below the pre-COVID area, okay, before the pre-COVID happened. So in terms of the earnings per share, you can see that, you know, they are actually losing money at the current moment because some of their business units are actually not that profitable. So again, they are actually doing a lot of restructuring. So hopefully that will actually bring the company back to profit zone. So in terms of the cash flow wise, okay, the good thing is you can see that their cash flow is actually pretty strong. Okay, you can see from their free cash flow, okay, it's actually pretty strong. Okay, but one thing to actually take note for this company is in terms of the debt. Okay, later on I will actually share on, in fact, all three companies in terms of the debt is relatively high because this is a very capital intensive business. They have to spend a lot of money for the infrastructure to set up. And of course, the money that they collect is actually a long-term basis, the recurring money that they collect from, you know, your phone bill, okay, is actually a long-term inflow. All right. But one thing to take note is actually when it comes to the net margin, okay, net margin, you can see that even before COVID, let's say in 2019, the net margin of the business is actually about 10, okay, it is coming below 10. So pretty much we get to know in terms of how profitable the business is overall. So I want to bring your attention to the next company, which is Verizon. So let's just compare between Verizon and AT&T. So you can see for Verizon, pretty much very similar to AT&T. Previously, it was doing well, and then after that, COVID happened, so the numbers dropping. Okay, but at least in terms of the earnings per share, in terms of this company, you can see that they are actually still profitable. Okay, they are still very profitable. So, I mean, the good thing is they are very focused on the communication, and even though there's a dip, okay, but overall as a business, overall, it is still a profitable business to begin with. So that is something that, you know, we don't have to worry so much about. And in terms of the cash flow, you can actually see that the cash flow has been pretty healthy and positive, except for the latest year, okay, because of this major capital spending. So again, where does this money comes? Let me just bring your attention. You can see that there's a minus 63, right? So where are they spending on? Just now I have already mentioned they bought into this spectrum, okay, the C-band spectrum that cost them about 52 billion. Okay, so a lot of money actually goes to that. Like I said, it's really a huge amount of money. And of course, they are spending about 10 billion over the next few years to actually build out all the infrastructure, okay, with Ericsson as well. Next, if we look at the profitability, okay, so just now, if I have your attention on AT&T, you can see that the net margin for AT&T was about, coming to below 10. But in the case of Verizon, you can see that, okay, over the years, that is also fluctuative, but at least even pre-COVID, it was like 14, and even post-COVID is like 13, 14. So in terms of the profitability of the business is pretty stable. Okay, it's a lot more stable as compared to AT&T, and it's a lot more predictable. All right, that is something that I personally like when I look at these two companies. Okay, AT&T, even though later on you can look at the valuation, it might be relatively cheap. Okay, but when you look at the consistency of the business itself, I would say that Verizon is a company that pretty much you can sleep at night. The only concern about Verizon is, of course, the huge debt that they're actually taking. And you can actually see that because of that, their debt to equity is about 2.35. It's relatively high. Okay, it's relatively high. Okay, so that is really where we need to see how Verizon is able to get back all this money from the consumer. Okay, of course, that will be the couple of years ahead. So this is basically Verizon. And last but not least, okay, let's take a look at T-Mobile. Okay, so for T-Mobile, you will realize that there is actually a jump, okay, in terms of the revenue. And that is actually because of the merger, okay, between T-Mobile as well as Sprint. Okay, so if you look at pre-COVID, actually the good thing about this company is in terms of the growth, right, they are actually growing a lot, not a lot faster, but they're growing faster as compared to their peers. Okay, yeah, but pretty much, okay, even with COVID, okay, you can see that revenue is still increasing. So this is something that is pretty amazing for this particular company. Earnings per share wise, okay, yeah, there are still definitely impact. You can see that previously they were doing like 4.02 for earnings per share, and then it actually still falls because of higher expenses and things like that. But one thing that brought me to my attention is actually the free cash flow. Okay, so you can see that for this company, they have been spending quite a fair bit of money throughout the years. Okay, so it's not like Verizon, okay, one shot, okay, I throw a lot of money, I set up everything, okay, and then I try to reap the reward. For T-Mobile, they are constantly spending money. And that is why you can see that year on year, right, their free cash flow is actually negative. So for me, at least for this part, I think it might be a little bit dangerous, in a way that they might be growing so much that they are not focusing so much on, in terms of the cash flow. It might be a little bit dangerous. So that is actually one of the red flags that I actually get coming from T-Mobile. All right. Then in terms of the net profit margin, okay, as mentioned, again, it is not as strong as Verizon. You can actually see. Okay, the net margin is consistently below 10. Okay, consistently below 10. So it's about 7, 4, 3.95. In terms of the debt, okay, it is also on the higher side at 1.49. Okay, pretty similar throughout all three companies, right? So that's why actually looking at these three companies, I would say that the company that I personally is more comfortable to invest in, okay, as of now, okay, is definitely Verizon. But of course, I still want to bring to your attention to the valuation. So for T-Mobile, like I said, the company in terms of the growth is definitely better. But let's take a look at the valuation. Just take a look at the PE ratio of T-Mobile. It is actually trading at 71.6. Okay, as compared to the overall market average of 26.5, and of course their 5-year average of 27. So it's definitely pretty overvalued. Okay, pretty overvalued. And then let's take a look at, let's take a look back at Verizon in terms of the valuation. You will be able to see that Verizon is compared to T-Mobile, it's definitely way undervalued. But even compared to its average, okay, I would say that current valuation for Verizon is still on the lower side. Okay, if you compare to the market, it is about 50% discount, or more than 50% discount. Okay, so this is coming from Verizon. And next, let's take a look at, this is AT&T. Let's take a look at the valuation. Okay, so you can see it's negative lah. Okay, reason being is because right now they are losing money lah. Okay, so when they're losing money, pretty much we can't actually get a valuation out of it. All right. So yeah, again, looking at the valuation, looking at the consistency, and overall, I would say that my personal if I were to really put money in, okay, the company that I will actually put my money in terms of the telco business, in terms of the 5G moving ahead. I would actually say is Verizon. Okay, this is the company that overall give me the most consistent number. Okay, the most consistent number, and of course the best financial and the best valuation as compared to all three. Yep, that's right. And Warren Buffett owns Verizon. Thanks, Richard, for actually pointing this out. All right, so that is basically my personal take on these three companies in terms of the numbers. So of course, next we want to, okay, yeah, that's basically my sharing for these three companies. I hope you all have some gain some insights into the company itself. So of course, hopefully maybe next time I can do a more in-depth into Verizon, just this company alone, so that we can have a better picture on moving forward how it can actually progress lah. But at least for today, I think this should be pretty clear lah, pretty clear. So what I'm going to do right now is, of course, the market condition. I'm just going to bring my chart, okay, to share with you in terms of the three index that I always look at, okay, just to share with you guys, overall outlook. So last week, I think we all had a very exciting week, okay. Yeah. So I remember, is it last Monday? Yeah. So our last market watch was actually on Monday. Okay. So on Monday, basically the market was, this was the market. Okay. Market was having a big dip lah. So what happened was that I actually, share with you guys lah, that if let's say you're overly leveraged, okay, it's better for you to get out of the market and at least sell some of the position. If you already have some invested in, maybe you should start looking for opportunity. And for those of you who are not invested, okay, probably it's good time to look for opportunity lah. But at the same time, I say that it's good for us to observe and see how that day the market react, and of course the next day for confirmation. So of course that day, actually, I would say that, okay, the selling was still strong. Okay, as you can see, the selling was still pretty strong, but it kind of pushed back up. So it's still a 50-50. Okay, it's still like a 50-50. But we can see that some buying is actually happening. But the next day, okay, actually, again, the answer was pretty obvious lah. Okay, there was a strong buying lah. In fact, pre-market, the market has already gone up and it continues to go up all the way. So you can see quite a couple of times, right? Okay, the market has actually given you a very obvious answer of a bounce back. Okay, previously it happened. Okay, you can see it many times, many times it happened. And of course, it was again that we always mention the EMA 50 line. Okay, this is like the magic lah, where the magic happened. So I hope you guys managed to some of you, okay, if you already sold off, you cut off your position, okay, don't be sad lah. Okay, don't be sad lah, because if you are overly having too much position, it's always good to cut off some. All right, for those of you who managed to enter during this drop, I would say that, yeah, you managed to get a good run up lah. So right now, okay, pretty much you can see that, okay, the market is actually still heading up lah. So that is always a good sign. Okay, so so again, my view has not changed. Okay, I still believe that the market will continue to go up even higher. All right, so that is still intact. So that is for the S&P 500. Okay, for the Dow Jones, okay, yeah, but this is a bit more exciting. Okay, again, we are coming to the very exciting zone where the resistance is happening and where the all-time high is happening. So Monday, let's see how it goes. Tomorrow, if the market appears with a huge, pre-market is bullish, we should be looking at even more upside coming from the Dow Jones. Okay, and of course, the Dow Jones basically represent the 30 largest company lah. So we'll be looking at Microsoft, Amazon, all these large companies like Facebook. It has performed really well. Okay, yes, really crazy coming from Facebook, right? And you can see actually the bouncing off from the EMA 50, it has happened multiple times. Okay, so again, just by looking at this, using this very important technical TA technique, okay, it can actually help you to capture some short-term profit. And of course, let's not forget our Nasdaq. Okay, so Nasdaq pretty much, okay, very bullish. All right, so again, if the market comes down, right, okay, please don't be alarmed lah. Okay, don't be alarmed. Nothing to be too alarmed. Okay, so if let's say subsequently the market comes down again, it is possible. Okay, okay, don't be over alarmed. But like I said, in terms of the long term, okay, it will continue to go higher. Yes, like what Jackson also mentioned, very, very important. Next week, all the big companies will release earnings. So this is also something that will kind of either push the market forward, or if the earnings is really lousy, then it could also create some pullback in the market as well. Right. So people, I think everybody is focusing a lot on the earnings that's coming up next week, and couple of days moving forward. And last but not least, okay, we always take a look at TLT to look at the overall, interest rate. So the long-term interest rate, as you can see, this is a 20-year interest rate. Previously it gone up, and then after that, you can see it got supported at the EMA 200 line. Okay, and then now it kind of bounced up. Okay, but actually nothing to worry about because pretty much it's already above the rate line. Okay, again, I do foresee that this will continue to go even higher. Okay, which means that as it goes up higher, okay, it will actually bring more upside for the tech sector as well. Okay, so as long as interest rate remains low, I would say that money basically will flow to where that gives you the more yield. Okay, if you look at, compare dividend yield as well as the yield coming from the bond, it makes more sense for all the money to go back to the stock market. And of course, for the crypto market, we all know that, okay, it's just an additional add-on to today. Right, previously I mentioned that, so I do foresee that the Bitcoin will continue to go in a sideways manner. Okay, this could happen for quite some time. So again, if you're expecting to make like quick profit from the Bitcoin market or the crypto market, got to be a little bit more patient. But what you can do is to have some short-term trade. So whenever the stock reach the bottom, okay, which is the support area, you can just buy a bit. Okay, but don't put everything in. Okay, again, comes with allocation. Just buy a bit. Okay, if it goes up, you might want to take some profit. Comes down again, buy again. Go up, take profit. I mean, not bad. As you can see, if you manage to buy somewhere around here, go up. Hey, 28%. Okay, I would say 28%, not bad, right? Not bad. Okay, so this is for Bitcoin. For those of the Bitcoin lover over here. Okay, but again, like I said, Bitcoin is pretty, I wouldn't say boring. Okay, but I would say that the hype is not as hype as before. So again, the money has got to flow somewhere. So that is also where I do see that money will continue to flow into the stock market. Yep, so that is basically what I have for you guys today. Okay, so I hope that this session has been useful for all of you. And of course, before I go, okay, I will still end off with a Q&A. So if you have any question that you want to ask me, now is the time for you to actually ask me. And yes, thank you so much for helping us to give us a like and a heart shape. Okay, I see about 26 of you giving us that. So please, if you forgot to give us a thumbs up or a heart shape or a laughing, some of you give me the angry face. Okay, yeah, it's okay. Just continue to help us to hit the button. All right, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat and I'll be here to answer your question. How about Ethereum? Okay, so for me, right, I like to use Bitcoin as a benchmark. So yeah, you can also, okay, let me just take a look. Matter of fact is I never look at Ethereum. So okay, yeah, so you can actually see that for Ethereum is a little bit different. Okay, Ethereum is a little bit lower. Hello. So quite obvious, but I can see it's coming lower and lower. The buy seems to be losing strength. Okay, so this might be a little bit different from Bitcoin. So when it comes here, okay, it could actually bounce back up or it could actually go even lower. So something for you to take note. Okay, but I would say that it's not as stable as Bitcoin in terms of Ethereum. But again, if you have a long-term view, I would say if it touches the line, just buy a bit. Okay, just buy a bit, buy and accumulate. Right, is there any other questions that y'all have? If you have, type it in. If not, then we will actually call it a day. Anyone has any question? Anyone has any question? Question. Okay, how about ARKK in your view? Let me take a look. All right. Yeah. So personally, when I look at this, right, okay, one thing that I could see is that, ARK could actually go in a sideways zone for a short period of time. So it's either if you want to trade for ARK, right, okay, either you just wait lah, okay, or you can actually accumulate somewhere at the EMA 200 line, somewhere around this zone. Okay, somewhere around this zone. Whenever you hit the bottom, you just buy, and then when it goes up, you sell. So this is more for a sideways market. If you believe that you will actually go higher, okay, wait for it to go above the, you can wait for it to go above the yellow line lah. Okay, then you actually go in. Right. So that is my personal take on ARKK lah. So again, why does the company go consolidate? Okay. Again, it's because you can see that the stock has really go up so much lah. Okay. So usually when the market has gone up so much, it has to take a break also. Like a recharge, like the car lah. Okay. Already go to the moon, right? Then it has to recharge the fuel ma. So the further it went up previously, the longer it has to consolidate lah. Okay. And then once it's ready, then the next wave will go up. So just relax, just chill. So it really depends, like I said, it really depends on what is your time horizon. If your time horizon is like 3 years, 5 years down the road, like ARKK, KT would always say that, my investment thesis is 4 years. So if the stock drop now, it's okay, don't have to worry. We are looking at 4 years down the road. Now it's not 4 years down the road, ma. Of course, 4 years down the road, then if the price drop 4 years down the road, then you can take the 4 years ago video and show her lah, okay. But anyway, that is like 4 years later. But of course, okay, again, like all this innovation company, the money might not come in now. Okay, the money might not come in now, but you can actually see that there's constant improvement along the way. It's just like 5G. Even right now, I would say that they are still deploying the 5G, but the money from the 5G actually doesn't come to the has not really fully come to the telco company yet. Okay, yeah, just imagine today lah. Let's say you subscribe to the highest tier on the 5G on the telco plan, but the problem is a lot of places, right, don't really, even though it's 5G lah, but the speed is not exactly that fast. So after some time you realize that, hey, actually I don't need the 5G. But what happens is that now I think more and more people are starting to use it. Okay, so people they need to get a 5G phone, and then when they get a 5G phone, they can also get a 5G plan. All right, so this is like a start. As moving forward in the future, nobody will get a 4G phone anymore. Nobody will get a 4G plan anymore. Everybody will jump into a 5G plan and a 5G phone. And I will actually share with you something really, really interesting when I did the research on, just to share a little bit also. I was just looking at how Verizon actually priced their product. Okay, so you can actually see that right now, the pricing of the plan, right, actually, I'm sure this also happened in Singapore. It's actually a lot straightforward. I'm sure you still remember the days whereby we were actually charged by the amount of minute that we call, the number of MB that we use, okay, the number of SMS that we send out, okay. But pretty much you can see right now, okay, $35, right, is already unlimited. Okay, it's already unlimited. So what happened is that, let me just zoom in for you. Okay, so you get 5G nationwide, 4G. Okay, this is not a super fast speed, but it's just nationwide. So again, what does it mean by nationwide? Nationwide, it could be the low band. Okay, which means that, yeah, it shows 5G, but the speed is not 5G. It's just telling you, yeah, you got nationwide 5G. All right, so if you want the speed one, the faster speed, then you have to subscribe to the better plan. Right, then of course right now they also combine with a lot of entertainment perks lah. Like if you subscribe to the plan, you actually get Hulu, you get Disney Plus, you get ESPN, etc., etc., etc. All right, so I would say that the pricing is a lot more straightforward. And of course, moving forward, as more and more people start to use 5G, I would say that they will start to increase the price because they kind of dominate the market. Okay, they kind of dominate the market, and of course they need to find ways to make back. For Verizon, they need to make back the 50 billion, right? So they have to make sure that they increase the price lah. But you can see, some of you say, wow, not that expensive, but this is for 4 unit lah, 4 line. If you only have 1 line, if you only subscribe to 1 line, can you see it's actually $70? $70 for the most basic plan. But the good thing is it's unlimited lah. Okay, it's unlimited. So it's actually not cheap. Okay, it's actually not cheap. The pricing for the telco. So yeah, in Singapore, I would say that do expect this to happen. Right now, they want more and more people to use. They make you addicted to your internet. They make you addicted to watching video. And then moving forward, right, whatever they charge you, you have to pay for it. I'm sure you still remember the days whereby you pay $100 for your phone bill. All right. So, but right now, a lot of you is like paying like $10, $15, $20. So how can the telco make back their money, okay, when they have to spend so much, but along the years, the amount of money they collect from you keep reducing. So when they kind of dominate the market, I can assure you that even in Singapore, the price will increase. Okay, the price will increase. Yep, so this is it. Any other question? Okay, last question. Okay, what about AMD? Okay, so for AMD, I think it's also pretty straightforward. Okay, let's see if we can actually break the all-time high. Okay, so again, okay, last week I actually shared about, not last week, last Monday I shared about Lululemon. Okay, so I told you that two things can happen for Lululemon. So last week, because previously I am always very bullish, so last week I go and hand itchy. I go and share with you all the bearish method. And then the market proved me wrong. Okay, the market proved me wrong. So in the case of Lululemon, right, if you previously bought a put, that means you try to short it, right? Okay, please cut loss. Okay, please cut loss. Okay, so when it go against you, you need to cut loss. So in fact, I also say that what happened if Lululemon actually breaks above the resistance, then you could actually see even more upside for Lululemon. So which also means that for Lululemon, I actually see more upside coming from this company. So you can see the company run up, take a break. Okay, run up, comes down, run up. But right now, you can see the consolidation. If it can continue, then okay, it could be another huge run up for Lululemon. Okay. Yeah, so this is pretty much the same as AMD. Okay, but right now, AMD is still within the zone. So let's see how it goes. Okay, whether it comes down or whether it goes above the all-time high. Before you make any major decision. But again, these are all for short-term trade. If you're looking for long-term trade, then of course you have to read up more about the company. Okay. But I do see that AMD continues to dominate the graphic market, okay, as well as the CPU, as well as the GPU. So there is something good coming from AMD. So let's see how it goes. All right, I think that's all from my side. Okay, so if there's no other questions, okay, then I'll see you guys next Sunday for Market Watch episode 15. Yes, thank you so much, Yi Yang. Okay, thanks for telling us. Yes, AMD earnings is next week. I think this coming weeks, there's a lot of huge earnings coming out. So watch out for that. Maybe next week I will be sharing with you some of the companies that has just released the earnings that has some powerful nuggets that we can actually learn from. Maybe I will share more on that. All right. Okay. Before I go, okay. Last one before I end. Okay. I think this is also worth saying because I shared before. Okay. So for those of you who previously sell a put for Huya, okay, I say you can sell a put around here, right? Okay. But you can see last Friday, all the China company continue to take a dip. So if your Huya is being exercised, okay, if your Huya is being exercised, so what happened is that now you hold the stock, right? The moment your stock drop 15%, 15%, okay, 15%, you need to cut loss. Okay, if it never drop below 15%, then continue to hold. So again, when you look at this, there's a tendency that it could continue to go down further, but yet at the same time, there could be special cases like this where it bounce back up. So I would say follow the 15% rule. Okay, if you already entered into a stock, if you drop 15%, cut loss first. You want to go in later, can re-enter again. If it does goes back, re-enter again. Because imagine if you expect the price to go up to here, if you sell here and then it recover, then you buy again here, you still make a lot of money. All right. One of the things that a lot of people do is after they sell already, they don't buy back. So if you need to cut loss, just cut loss. If you need to buy back, just buy back. Just be firm with it. But I would say that, there could be more downside coming from Huya. I think same for Baba. Even though it's very, very undervalued, but this kind of regulatory risk is something that we can't predict. If I can predict, then maybe I'll be the next PM of Singapore. Okay, just kidding. Yeah. So just to take note, overall, I would say the China company is still at a very, 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 very undervalued price. Okay. So depending on your game plan, if your game plan is long term, okay, then I think it's okay. If you have not bought into Alibaba or any of this company, buy a bit. I think it's okay. It's at a very, very good price. But if you already have a lot, but you're buying more to average down, then please do not do that. Okay, so you can see different game plan, different scenario lah. So for me, it's very difficult for me to give everybody a standard template, whether should you buy more or should you sell or should you get out. Okay, so make sure that you actually understand, why we are actually doing that, so that you understand and have your own game plan as well. I hope it has been useful for all of you. Okay, so today is a little bit long. Okay, but anyway, thanks for the 100 of you who are still watching this. Okay, so for those of you who are not sure who am I, I think I didn't introduce. My name is Bowen, and I'm the co-founder of Ultimate Investing. So every Sunday we'll be doing this. Okay, so next Sunday at 9 p.m. we'll be doing this again at 9 p.m. Okay, so 9 p.m. sharp. Join me next Sunday, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay. In the meantime, do stay safe. Okay, please do stay safe. Stay invested, and very importantly, please stay at home lah. Please don't anyhow go out lah, okay, so that the numbers can go below 100 and we can go out in 3 weeks time. All right, bye bye.